Hey there, what's up guys? Welcome back to the iOS development channel, maxcodes.io, my website. In this video, we're going to be taking a look at SwiftUI navigation, and we're also going to be touching on buttons, corner radius modifiers, background colors, padding, a whole bunch of stuff. We're going to take a look at navigation buttons so that we can navigate between what you would think is a UI navigation controller with a UI view controller as a child, right? But it's actually not. It's actually much different, and I have no idea where Apple intends to go with this, because as you can see when you click this again, there's a lot of potential bugs that you can recreate. Now, these can be really easily avoided, but I purposely kind of made it this way so that we could explore SwiftUI a little bit more in depth, like you probably haven't seen it in other videos and tutorials online. So I highly encourage you watch this. I'll show you how to build all this and use navigation in SwiftUI. Let's go ahead and stop talking and just jump right into it, okay? So what we're gonna do is create a new Xcode project, and this Xcode project can be called whatever you want. You can call it SwiftUI navigation if you want. And if you want, you can check out my latest SwiftUI course, which is in the description, or just use the code YouTube9 or YT9 on my course and you can get it for cheaper. But that's in the description, and I'm just trying to plug that while I'm loading this up. Let's go ahead and start coding. All right, so you'll see right now, obviously we have text hello world, and I'm using the live canvas, which is pretty nice. I like it. If you're using Mojave though, just compile to the simulator and it should be exactly the same, all right? And I'll compile to this if we ever have any problems with this little content view here, canvas view, or whatever they're calling it. All right, let's get started. Let's go ahead and get rid of the text hello world, and let's throw in a navigation view, because this is really what's gonna allow us to kind of hop between views on the screen like you see here in the completed app, right? So we're able to do this because we have wrapped it with a navigation view. Now it says cannot convert type blah, blah, blah to blah, 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 right? Let's just go ahead and get rid of this error by throwing in some text that says something like enter course, or just a button name right there, all right? All right, perfect. Let's go ahead and hit Command Option P, which is what I believe will compile it to the live editor fast as possible. And it looks like we have our text there. All right. Now, before we jump straight into navigation buttons, I'm just going to show you how to use a normal button. All right, you have the button here that says a control that performs an action when triggered. You can throw in a parenthesis there and get this completion handler where you're going to hit return and get these two completion handlers, right? The action is where you run code, and the label is where you give it the title, right? Now, it's not going to work if we don't give it a title. So we have to go ahead and say something like text, enter course, okay? Now, whatever you want to run when you click this button can be done right in here in this action. Now, if you're using the Canvas Live Editor, you can't really click the button until you hit this play button down here. So if you're using this, make sure you hit the play button or none of this will work here. But if you're using the simulator, no play button, you're just good to go. Just use it how you normally would. All right, I'm gonna hit enter course. You can see it's a button. Now, we don't wanna use this button because we wanna use a navigation button. So let's go ahead and say navigation button, and you'll see the description there. It says a button that triggers a navigation presentation when pressed. So very similar to something like UI navigation controller .push view controller, if you are familiar with that. Go ahead and use this second initializer where we're going to create an instance that pushes onto a navigation stack when triggered. The first parameter is a simple destination, and this isn't very obvious what you would want to put here, right? And the label is pretty obvious. It's just what it's going to be, okay? So I'm going to tab over into the label and hit return and say text, enter course. All right, so destination is left blank. We need to provide this so that we can click and be pushed somewhere onto our navigation stack. Okay, so let's go ahead and throw in a text parameter and just say, hey there. When you select this button now, we're going to be pushed to another view controller like view. It's not actually a view controller, but you get what I'm saying. And it throws us here, and you'll see we have the top there. It's kind of hard to see here, but I think you get what's going on, right? I hit enter course. We're thrown here and it says back. Now, how do we get it to say something else other than back? Really simple, glad you asked. all we have to do is go to within our navigation view. Now this is the part that tripped me up. You don't do this outside of the navigation view. You do it within the navigation view, and you add the modifier at the bottom called NavigationBarTitle. What we're gonna throw in here is a simple text that says something like maxcodes.io/courses, right? Not a website URL. I'm just doing that because of the kind of app we're building. You'll see that I'm saying enter course. So I'm kind of acting like this is my course page, right? Put whatever you want for the title here. It's simply just the title up there. You'll see it looks very similar to large navigation titles in a normal UI navigation controller application. Go ahead and hit enter course, and you'll see now that the back button says maxcodes.io/courses. Okay. And if you want to check out that website, you'll be able to see my latest SwiftUI course. It's actually hosted on Udemy, but that will give you a coupon code. It's also in the description if you want to check it out. I've recorded the first section. It's very basic, but I'm adding a ton of content, and the entire list of future content is actually listed on the course right now. So if you want to check out those details, you can click on there and check it out for free if you don't want to buy it. But if you want to get it, it's there as well. Okay, so just wanted to plug that because I'm trying to be doing YouTube full time now. Anyway, let's get off with that and let's talk more about navigation. Okay, so we have our deal here. What we want to do now is add some modifiers to this button to give it a little bit of a nice looking effect. So what we can do is, well, not effect, but just a view, right? I made it sound like we were adding an animation, but we're not. We're just modifying the properties of this button. So I'll say .color is white, and I want to give it a background color, but I'm not going to put it on the text. I'm going to put it on the navigation button. I'll say background is .red. Now this may or may not compile. Let's go ahead and try it. Looks like it didn't, but a quick fix is just to say color.red. Now you'll see it worked for color. I don't know if that's something that works only on color and background. I don't know if these are different types. I would assume that they're the same types, white and red. I'd assume they're both colors, but for some reason on background, it doesn't work when you just use the color. Okay. Now, if you're using Catalina, if you're on Catalina, you can also command click on things like text and hit inspect. And sometimes it doesn't pop up because it's a beta software. But if you go in here, you can change the color pretty easily and it'll change it right there on the modifier. So just kind of a cool feature that I thought I'd share with you. Okay, so I also want to give it some padding. So let's go on to our text here and say .padding is 12, just to kind of give it some padding between the edge of the view and the text itself. Perfect. One more thing, I want to give it a corner radius. Let's go right here and say corner radius on the entire button is 12. Let's go ahead and wait for that to compile, or compile it to your deal. I just accidentally figured out how to move lines between each other. I was trying to hit Command-Shift-P to compile it to the canvas, and I accidentally hit Command-Shift bracket, and it pushed it above there. That's interesting. All right, let's go ahead and click this button now, and you'll see it brings us here. Perfect, just what we want. But how do we get in another custom view? How do we get in more than just text? Well, I assume you could write it all in here, and that would get really messy, but you can simply declare another view. You can say something like struct, and we can say detail view is of type view, var body, some view, put a colon there, and then say some view. And then we can just throw in some extra stuff here. Let's say navigation item, navigation view, my bad. And this will simply contain, let's say, some text that says, welcome to the shop, or welcome to the animations course, or welcome to the SwiftUI WWDC course. All right, let's hit resume here and see what we get. Nothing's going to change because we're still using text. Let's get rid of that and let's simply throw in detail view. Okay, perfect. So what this is going to do is it's going to take this view and it's going to use it as the navigation button destination. So as you can imagine, you can put in tons of content here like we did in this first one and have an entire another view. So let's see. I'm going to go ahead and hit play here. Okay, it looks like it was just being laggy, and you'll see it takes us to the shop. All right, I'm going to hit that play button again. I expect this to be filled with bugs just because, you know, it's beta software. Anyway, there we go. Works great. And you now know how to use navigation views, navigation buttons, and their modifiers in SwiftUI. I hope you learned something. If you did, go ahead and subscribe to the channel because I'm going to be making daily SwiftUI videos because I'm going to show you how to master SwiftUI one video at a time. All right, hope you enjoyed the video and I'll see you in the very next video.